Hello and welcome to Time About the Movies Flashback. Today we're flashing back to July 31st, 1987 with 4 movies. The first 2 I have seen, the other 2 not so much. We've got Timothy Dalton making his debut as James Bond, the Coreys in the new film from Joel Schumacher, Ali Sheedy, I guess, is in this movie with Beverly D'Angelo called Maid To Order, and Donald Sutherland stars as Ovuri. That's all I got for you on those ones there. So, before we get to any of those, though, let's talk about the biggest new release of the weekend, and that was, of course, the debut of Timothy Dalton as James Bond 007 in The Living Daylights.
It's all so boring here, Margot. If only I could find a real man. Who are you?
Bond, James Bond. 007 here. I'll report in an hour.
Won't you join me?
Better make that 2.
So to understand how we got to this point, we kind of have to go back to 2 years prior when A View to a Kill came out. Roger Moore was very much well into his 50s, and that meant that the time had come to switch out the older James Bond for a newer, younger James Bond. And Moore had decided to retire. He was 59 years old when The Living Daylights came out. He claimed he chose to retire from the role after 12 years and 7 films, but the producer, Alfred Broccoli, said that he let Moore go from that role in general, and so a search had to begin for a new James Bond, and there was a lot of options available. Sam Neill, Timothy Dalton, and then Pierce Brosnan, and Pierce Brosnan was eventually offered the job after a 3-day screen test, and it was pretty much going to be Pierce Brosnan as James Bond. However, NBC kept him from doing that, as he was contractually obligated to continue on Remington Steele, even though it had been canceled by NBC at that point due to failed ratings. And the announcement that he was chosen to be playing James Bond actually caused an interest in the series to grow, which led to NBC exercising their option to keep Brosnan with the network on the very last day the contract was supposed to go, and NBC's action caused dramatic repercussions, and so Alfred Broccoli withdrew the offer to Brosnan, and so they went straight to Timothy Dalton, which is very funny because Remington Steele didn't last very long after that. It was gone after 1 year after that. So it would take 8 years until Brosnan eventually got the opportunity to play James Bond, and the rest is history. So, like I said, Timothy Dalton was given the role, and it led to what I think is maybe the most underrated Bond ever with this and License to Kill. But so you see in the film that the beginning of the film resembles the short story of The Living Daylights, in which Bond acts as a counter sniper to protect a Soviet defector, Yorhi Koskov. He tells Bond that General Pushkin, head of the KGB, is systematically killing British and American agents. When Koskov is seemingly snatched back, Bond follows him across Europe, Morocco, and Afghanistan. And one of the things I really like about what Timothy Dalton brought to the table as James Bond, because he doesn't get the appreciation he deserves for that role, he was really good as Bond. You can tell that he definitely had what it takes to be one of the great Bonds ever, but unfortunately, they really didn't do much for Dalton to branch out, really. They had a lot of ideas that they would eventually take over into the Daniel Craig movies down the road with Casino Royale, and then, those movies, Quantum of Solace, Skyfall, Spectre, No Time to Die. Like, that's where I think the opportunity for them to do the story that they were setting up here was done a whole lot better, obviously. But this definitely showed that, Dalton really was good at James Bond. He had the potential to really break out, but he never really got that opportunity to do so. And it would definitely show with License to Kill. But I give this movie credit for being a lot more enjoyable than most people give it credit for. I like that they went with more of a realistic tone for the film. They actually allowed Dalton to do his own stunts, which was not a bad idea whatsoever. He does a pretty good job of doing it, and it really does feel like you're watching like nowadays you see Tom Cruise doing his own stunts, but Timothy Dalton doing it nowadays, is back then was really impressive to see. A lot of the action in the movie works very well. I like the chemistry between him and Miriam Diabo as the Bond girl in this. Jerome Krabi as the bad guy is really good. A great opening song by Aha, and yeah, a lot of the movie really does work, and it's a shame that there aren't more Bond movies with Dalton, because he really did bring a lot of new energy to the character that was slowly but surely gone with the Roger Moore movies. But yeah, unfortunately, they never really gave him a chance to shine, and License to Kill kind of underperformed compared to the other movies. But I don't know, I still like both of these movies a lot. I really wish they would have done more with him, but regardless, this is a very good James Bond movie. I really like what they did. It definitely deserves a lot more attention than it does. It's a very underrated film from a very underrated James Bond. So there you go. That's The Living Daylights. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie we have here, which is The Lost Boys.
Michael and Sam are about to discover a secret in California.
Santa Carla's crawling with vampires. Stay back! Stay back! I'm your brother, Sammy! Help me!
What's happening, Movie Star?
My umbrella, blood-sucking vampire.
Better get yourself a Carly t-shirt, buddy.
Oh, you wait till Mom finds out. Has everyone gone crazy here?
The Lost Boys. Rated R. Starts Friday, July 31st.
So this is a horror comedy directed by Joel Schumacher, where you follow two teenage brothers who meet with their divorced mother in the fictional town of Santa Carla, California, only to discover that the town is a haven for vampires. And of course, the title references the characters in the classic Peter Pan stories who, like vampires, never grow up. Most of them become vampires, pretty much. And you have a cast that includes the Coreys, Corey Feldman, Corey Haim, Jamie Gertz, Kiefer Sutherland, Jason Patrick is in here, Diane Wiest. A lot of recognizable names in here for a very slick, cool, funny. It's a horror comedy. It's not really Beetlejuice level horror comedy, but it's more funnier than I think the trailers and the marketing really let on. Because I avoided this for so many years, and I finally watched it a couple years later. There are times when this thing could be legitimately funny and also creepy at the same time. But then again, this was the perfect decade for that kind of humor. I mean, Beetlejuice, Ghostbusters. I mean, we just talked about on the website, The Lair of the White Worm, which is a brilliantly funny, over-the-top horror comedy. Very good film. You should definitely check out the Ken Russell film. But this film was really a lot of fun, man. I was really glad I finally got around to seeing this, and I could see what everyone was talking about when they were talking about how good this movie was, because, yeah, it definitely delivers as it promises. It's a very cool, slick-style vampire movie that's very funny, very creative, very well done. It's a terrific film. One of the more underrated movies from... Maybe not even underrated movies, because maybe it's underrated for me because I never saw it until just a couple months ago, and I am glad I did, because it was definitely more than worth the wait. I figured see what everybody was talking about. And this just goes to show you that Joel Schumacher could be a really good director. Minus the Batman movies, of course. But that's a whole nother thing altogether. So, what more can I say that hasn't already been said about this one? The Lost Boys. So, let's go ahead and move on to the next movie we have here. Now we're getting to the movies that I have no idea if they're any good or not, because I've never seen them. So we can get to these pretty quickly. Let's start with Maid to Order.
Once upon a time, in a land called Beverly Hills, there lived a spoiled princess who had it all.
Don't worry, I have a case.
Her carriage was a cherry red Mercedes. Every night she had a ball. Every day her daddy paid.
Dad, please, I'm zeroed out.
I gave you 200.
Well, it's ancient history.
I believe it was lunchtime.
And then one day, fate stepped
You're
in.
making a big mistake. See, I'm rich.
And something extraordinary happened.
Who are you?
I'm your fairy godmother. As of 5 minutes ago, the old Jesse Montgomery ceased to exist.
All right, look, it's a great joke. It's really funny. I've learned my lesson. Daddy, some fairy godmother you are. I thought you guys were supposed to turn maids into princesses.
Some princesses deserve to be maids.
Yeah, I have no idea what the hell's going on in here. Supposedly this is based off of a formula from Cinderella. It looks like it's also mixed with a little bit of Arthur in there as well, where you have Ali Sheedy as You know, she's this party girl. She's a rich girl. She's a pre-Karen, if you will. But in this case, you have the formula. And this time around, is the fairy godmother, played by Beverly D'Angelo, is not the means for the better life for the heroine, but rather the nemesis. Though rather than doing something out of malice, the fairy godmother hopes to teach the heroine that life has more of importance than financial security, which I guess includes getting her a job as a maid. I'm guessing that's what it is. I have not seen this movie, and judging by that trailer, I don't know if I want to see this movie, because it just looks like it's completely all over the place. It really does not look like there's a grasp of an idea of what kind of tone they want to take with it. I mean, it just seems like in that trailer, there's just so much going on in there, and it's just kind of like, yeah, I just can't see myself wanting to watch this movie, even though I like Beverly D'Angelo a lot, and she looks like she's having a time of her life with this role. Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I really don't know if this is worth watching, honestly. Like, this is a film that just feels, you know, it just feels like it's all over the place. Like I said, it's like a mix between Arthur and Cinderella, except for Arthur is a much better movie than this, probably, and I've seen better versions of Cinderella done than whatever this movie was, but and again, I mean, it could always be worse. You could be the 2021 Camila Cabello version, but yeah, I'm just filling time here because, like I said, I've never seen this movie, and judging by this trailer, I don't think I really do want to see it, quite honestly, because it just looks like it's so all over the place. It has no idea what the tone is, what the direction is they're going along with it, and it just doesn't look entertaining to me, and I've never heard anybody say this is one you got to check out, so take that for what you will. Who knows? Maybe it's actually good and I'm just not seeing it. But this is directed by Amy Holden Jones, who did the Slumber Party Massacre and, of course, did a lot of work on the Beethoven movie. So, I don't know. Maybe there's something there, but I don't know. So, let's go ahead and move on to the last one we have here. Donald Sutherland as Ovuri. Oh, I'm sorry. The Wolf at the Door. And also YouTube, if it's not an actual trailer, don't market that as a trailer. That video I showed you was just the opening 2 minutes of the movie. That's literally what that was, and it's listed on there as Ovuri trailer, and it's not that whatsoever. But you see Donald Sutherland there. This is a biographical film about the life of French artist Paul Gauguin, played by Sutherland, and follows the painter as he returns to Paris after a long stay in Tahiti and must confront his wife, his children, and his former lover. And you have a cast that also includes Max von Sydow in here, and a bunch of other people that I don't know too much about. And just like that, I don't know much about this movie either. I'd never even heard of it until now. It's not helping that it sat on a shelf in Hollywood since 1986. This was originally, it wasn't even sitting on a shelf. It was originally a 1986 Danish-French film, and then I guess for some reason they decided to bring it to the States a year later, and there was no marketing for it. Obviously, there's no real studio behind it, so even if it was a good movie, you had to really search to go and find this film, and I don't know. I just don't think there was nothing there that made people want to say, I want to check this out. I know I certainly don't want to check it out after not hearing much about it. I mean, there's not really much to see on the Wikipedia page for it, so it obviously didn't leave that much of a lasting impact overall, but then again, this is Donald Sutherland and Max von Sydow, and they usually don't turn down bad performances, even in bad movies, but then again, it would be something if I actually knew if the movie was any good or not, which I've never seen anybody say this is one you got to check out. So that's Ovuri, or The Wolf at the Door, or Guggen, or whatever the hell you want to call it. I've never seen it, so I can't really say too much more about it. And so with all of that said, we wrap up another time about the movies Flashback for you. But the next time we meet, we've got 4 more summer movies to look at. One called Summer, with the word summer in it. Summer School with Mark Harmon. And also we have another one of the 2 infamously bad movies based off of a groundbreaking 1970s blockbuster where they've literally ran out of ideas. We'll get to the other one the week before that, the next time around. But we have Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. Also, we have La Bamba, and also Wish You Were Here. So, 4 films to take a look at next time around, and we'll delve into those next time. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please go ahead and hit the playlist on the next page. Check out the previous episode, and also don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe button, the notification, and the bell. You get updates on when news videos come out, and we do post videos here every day. Now, with all that said, I am off. I will see you guys next time, and until then, as always, take care.